Our 25-day challenge wouldn't be complete without me talking about gluten, right? You hear everyone's going gluten-free, and I think people are finally getting over that fad, but what's really going on with gluten? So I'm going to talk about a couple different topics, but to start off, I want to talk about the variety of gluten issues. So on one end of the spectrum, we have people with celiac disease. Now, anyone with celiac can't have any gluten whatsoever. It will cause a major immune and inflammatory response in the body. Then in the middle, we have people with what we call non-celiac gluten sensitivity. So they weren't diagnosed with celiac, but they still have a major reaction to gluten. And then on the other end, people that don't have either one of those, but the research still finds that when they eat gluten, it causes this inflammatory response, and then it can lead to intestinal permeability, also known as leaky gut. So that's still not good that we're finding that in people without these diagnosed illnesses. So what do we do? Number one, I say, try and not eat it every day, because think about it. If you're eating gluten, breakfast, lunch, dinner every day, you're always having this inflammatory response. Your gut is constantly inflamed. You never get a break to recover, basically. So definitely minimize it. Follow that 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, don't eat food with gluten, especially wheat. Wheat is the biggest culprit. And then 20% of the time, maybe you're out at a party and you have a slice of pizza, or you go to a gourmet restaurant with a nice burger. I think a little bit in moderation is just fine. The other issue is it actually gluten? So you may know of a friend that has, or you have experienced where you go to Europe and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm eating all the pizza and pasta I want and I feel fine. So maybe it's not the gluten. It could actually be a pesticide called glyphosate, which is highly, highly used in the US. It's actually banned in a lot of countries around the world, but the US, it's kind of a free-for-all. We spray it on everything, especially wheat. You may also have heard of it as Roundup. But Roundup, glyphosate, either way, you want to stay away from it, and the best way to do that is to buy organic. So if you can buy organic wheat, still not my favorite thing, but it's much better than the conventional stuff that's loaded with pesticides. All right, so do your best to follow that 80-20 rule and stick with organic as much as possible.